Welcome to the Auburn School Committee meeting. It's October 26, 2022. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This meeting of the Town of Auburn School Committee is being conducted both in person and remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, and extended through March 31st, 2023. For the public to join the meeting remotely through Zoom, please use the link posted on the agenda. The governor's order, along with all supporting materials that have been provided to the members of this body, is available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. Accordingly, all members of this meeting who will participate, please be aware that other people may be able to see you, and please take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Thank you. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. We have a nice full house today.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, Meg, will you start us off?
The vision of the Auburn Public Schools is to educate and prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. Our commitment: we will create, maintain, and support an environment that fosters a sense of belonging for all students in our schools, without regard for race, color, sex, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, homelessness, poverty, spoken language, and ability.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any citizens' comments? All right, special recognitions?
None tonight, Madam Chair.
Okay, approval of the minutes from October 12th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 12th, 2022.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. And we do have a student here, and one on Zoom, or no?
Nope.
No Allie tonight. All right, so take it away, Bella.
Hello, everyone. I would like to start by saying we had a very successful homecoming weekend. We hosted the first real pep rally since COVID, which set a pretty positive vibe for the whole weekend. There was a great turnout, over 400 students at the homecoming football game and over 500 at the dance on Saturday.
Wow.
The marching band received a silver medal in their competition this weekend, and yesterday the student council held a boo bash, which was cute because all the little kids came. It was cute to see them walking out. And varsity math team had our first in-person meet of the season and since COVID started today, so I just came from there. That was pretty exciting, I'm going to be honest.
How did it go?
It went great. I think we did pretty well as a team. They didn't really tell us like what our rankings were, but we did pretty well point-wise. Auburn High School hosted it, so we got to see everybody in person. There were a lot of people there. And our athletic teams are having a great fall season, sort of winding down, but some teams are being sent to playoffs.
Excellent.
Wow, sounds like a busy place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Any discussion or questions from anyone?
I just want to say I enjoyed seeing all the pictures on Facebook of everyone all dressed up and ready to go.
I know.
It was very nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
very nice to see. Awesome. Good job, Bella.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bella.
Thanks, Bella.
All right, and Dr. Chamberlain, you can take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are very excited to have some visitors here with us tonight. As we do each meeting, we have a spotlight on students. Tonight we'll highlight the ENCORE program. ENCORE stands for Educational Next Steps, Creating Opportunities for Real-World Experiences. It's located here at West Street and offers work-based opportunities as well as real-world experiences, grocery shopping, meal planning, and the like. The program is designed for associates aged 18 to 22 who are eligible for educational services as they transition. So I'm proud to report you'll see some promotional material. I'm going to let them talk more about that along with Mrs. Quarion. And we're just very proud of how the program has developed, and we'll let them take it away.
Awesome.
Wendy, you're going to want to be at the microphone. You're going to want to be near the mic.
Maybe not.
So this evening, first of all,
I'm Wendy Quirion. I'm the coordinator of the program and the vocational transition coach. This is, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is,
You got it.
one moment.
My name is,
My name is Zachary Kucher.
and with us we have,
I'm Deborah Sanborn. I'm the Director of Viability.
And I'm Mary. I've been here for like the first year here full time.
excellent, a little louder next time,
Excellent.
okay? Great, and we have
Jen McCarthy from Viability.
who meets with us each week throughout the year. It's a pre-ETS course. Do you want to just highlight what that is?
She's going to want to be near the mic up there, yeah.
Just the role you play.
So we help students with job skills and work readiness skills. That's essentially what we do.
So in your packet, I hope you see the pamphlet and this brochure that highlights the pre-ETS program. And these pictures that you see is one of several opportunities that our associates have participated in. This was actually a day this summer where they were at the Viability office on James Street participating in a virtual reality program. But these are two of our representatives who actually participated in it. So I am going to turn it over to them and let them share with you what they did and what they got out of it. And Mrs. Sanborn's going to share some of the equipment. So let's take it away. Would you like to start? Okay, come over. You can read your cards. You're going to swallow and speak slowly and loud. You got this. Good, number one, right?
No,
You do.
Probably a little take a little break from the cards and try to go out with it. Does anyone have any questions about what the viability helps out with? How about we just start with that? I guess it's a
What
good
do they
place.
help with, Zachary? What did you do there?
They help us out with getting ready for an interview, getting us ready for different topics, how to talk, eye contact, hand gestures, body movement, language, you name it, they got it. And it helps us out with many different ways in how to help out with people who need to little bit more of a helpful hand in getting into the working world.
And I want to ask, there's a headset that you wore, Adam.
Yeah.
And could you tell us what you saw or heard when you had that headset on? Do you want to show them what it looks like?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it on. Put it on myself, and then you can explain what's going on.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what the students got to do.
That's so cool.
Yep.
So what did you see in there?
So basically, what I see is a different way to see the world and how the training of each job will go.
So did they give you opportunities to practice an interview?
Yes.
And what did you see inside there?
So far, I saw what I think could be a perfect area for a job interview.
Did you get to pick an avatar?
Well, man, my thing, yeah, maybe we'll say yes.
Okay. All right. And did they ask you questions?
Yes.
Like what?
Give us an example.
I have some
Well,
examples.
maybe how much my prior job experience is, maybe if I maybe have how I heard the job, and probably stuff like that.
Adam, is there a job you might be interested in interviewing for?
Just a few, but I'm still picking out what I should probably go for.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And I believe Zach, he took some notes and brought them to the meeting tonight.
Okay.
And it's some questions, I think, that you actually got to answer?
Yep.
Okay, could we let Zach go up to the microphone?
Yes, that would be nice, thank you.
Great job, Adam.
Great job.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Questions on the body swap differ from which topic you choose. So I have 3 of them from there. The first one is, what book from high school would you read again? Yeah, another one would be, if you could be any animal, what would you be? And the third one is, what is your favorite hobby to do in your free time? And based on how you answer the questions, it gives you a percentage on if you're going to, well, let's say if you have to work on the skills based on the percentage of what you're doing, of your eyes, your hands, your body, your tone. As well as also the people who respond to you, they give you feedback on how you can make improvements to it as well as choose whether you talk to a guy or a girl, depending upon who you see as more trustworthy.
Oh, interesting.
And Zachary, are there any jobs you're interested in?
Actually, there is Crumbled Cookie in Millbury.
Good one. How are those cookies?
Tell them about your experience there.
I would love to. At Crumble Cookie, there's some different things. Mostly what I do is help fold the boxes that transport the cookies. I also roll cookie dough and use ice cream scoops to measure out the right amounts of the cookies. They also have labels on the fridges of how much you have to weigh, like 4.5, 5.0, or if you're doing the mini ones, like smaller numbers.
What's their best cookie?
Me personally, I don't know if I can have their cookies, but I believe maybe one of the seasonal ones might be good.
Okay.
After all, it's becoming Halloween. Maybe they might spook you into trying something.
What were you gonna do tomorrow when you left work? What are you gonna scan?
I'm going to scan a QR code to see if I can try to get started up.
It's gonna fill out an application and apply for part-time paid position.
Oh, that's great.
Very, very proud. Zachary happens to be in his second year of our program, and Adam's in our first, so. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Adam?
Well,
Up to the microphone.
I just can't. I don't have any words.
You don't have any words?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Take your time, you can.
Great job.
So basically, when I go to each job, it's kind of having to do different attire between like the Mondays and Wednesdays. It's this basic uniform I'm wearing right now. Tuesday and Thursday all black, and Fridays is business casual.
Oh, those are the uniforms, the outfits you wear.
Okay.
Yes. So Tuesday and Thursday at Crumble, you're in all black.
Yeah, business uniform. I usually wear some Monday and Wednesday announcements. Tuesday and Thursdays I use all black, and then I just wear something anything on Friday.
When we're out in the community, but this is your uniform for Masterman's. Excellent, I'm glad you pointed that out.
I know, that's ideal.
Nice job. Any other questions?
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I think both of our associates have a future in some kind of customer service because they're
absolutely.
very personable.
Yes,
Thank you.
They did an excellent job speaking. Thank you so much.
I'm
Great
very,
job.
very proud of both
Thank you
of
for
them.
coming.
And I see you guys in this brochure as well, so I think you might be famous.
Very, very proud.
Oh, man.
definitely should be.
Well, thank you all for coming. You are more than welcome to stay, but you don't have to stay for the remainder of the meeting. We're just happy you were able to join us today.
Thank you for coming. I know, I love it.
Have a great night. Keep up the good work.
Hi, thank you. Excellent
Bye.
job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great job.
Bye now, thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Very nice.
Have a good night.
I'm jealous you got into Crumble Cookie.
I know.
I've been wanting
My
to
daughter's
try
been
those
trying to get
cookies.
cookies there for a while and she can't get near the store.
They're a busy place, I hear.
Yeah.
So how many kids do we have in the program right now?
Right now, we have 4, and each year it varies based on who's leaving Auburn High School. We had 5, I think, last year. So we'll see, yeah.
Now, are these all Auburn students or do we take
They
in?
are.
We
They
don't
are.
take in any outsiders?
We
or-
don't, but I will tell you, I was at a superintendent's meeting recently, and as I'll share a little bit later, pricing for private outplacement schools is going up dramatically in the coming year. And so as superintendents, we were trying to brainstorm ways around that. And this was the program that came to my mind, that if
Sure.
we can get a consortium, and they have a couple of students from another town that could come here, benefits everyone.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we're working together as a collaborative team to figure out how we can avoid some of the private school payments that we're making, because the increase is estimated at potentially 14%.
Wow.
It made me think, because when we were able to do the last school tour before COVID, there was a young lady from Leicester that was
There was.
in our program.
Yes, she had school choiced in when she was at Auburn High School, so that's how that kind of came to be, and then she transitioned into this program. So that was a little bit different, but we are looking at collaborating on some of those things.
If we can offer something that another district doesn't have to start a program for one
Correct.
person or something, why not?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's great to have associates here in the building. We like to have them, they make us nice little wreaths for our door sometime, or sometimes we get brownies, or you never know, so it's been great.
Cookies.
It's been great.
I remember last year they did, they decorated outside and did a lot of like the yard work.
Oh, yeah, the
and-
plantings out in
yeah.
front, they did, yep,
Yeah.
yep. So, yeah, they're wonderful, wonderful
It's
program.
great. Yeah, and what is the woman's name that runs the program?
Wendy Querion,
Wendy, she's
yes.
great.
She used to be an art
wonderful.
teacher.
She used to be an art
Oh, okay.
teacher,
Art
and then she
teacher.
Yeah.
transitioned to
Right.
special ed at the high school.
Yeah.
And then she was working with some of our students at the high school that go out to job sites and the like, and then this program began 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years
She's-
ago, so it's great.
She's great with them.
She is
She
fantastic.
loves them.
Yeah.
Like
And
her
she's
own,
very
so.
good at soliciting businesses. That just continues to grow all the time with the places that they're in, you know, for opportunities for the kids.
Yeah, I mean Crumble Cookie, that's like a popular place with the kids and everything. That's a great spot for,
Yeah.
you know.
And then I heard, I think, Masterman's as well.
Yep.
Is that here? Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
fantastic.
Oh, great.
Through the chair, they also have like two behavioral assistants that work with them as well.
Yeah.
Rosemary Reagan and, was it Zachary
Finney.
Fine? Yeah.
Oh, good.
Great. Awesome. Well, tell them we said great job. You're doing a great job. All right, we'll move on to unfinished business.
No
None.
unfinished, so, yep.
new business.
New business. So I'm going to invite Mr. Desto up to the podium to talk about the middle school grade 8 team and, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm coughing, and their presentation for consideration for an overnight field trip to Philadelphia and New York City for the 8th grade students. Come on up, Mr. Desto.
I definitely, I'm so afraid to mess up Mr. Keller's stuff here.
As well you should be.
I'll do my best to maneuver around. As always, I have to lower this a little bit. Mrs. Harrington, would it be okay if I passed something out? to
Oh,
everybody?
absolutely, yeah. No, it's fine.
I don't have enough. I gave you
We'll
one.
share.
I got it.
Sam and
We'll
I can
share. No, I have enough for everybody except for Mr. Keller.
Oh.
You got one last week when you met. Thanks, copy.
You can look on
Cecilia, I won't look on. No, I do have it.
That's all right. If you don't, it's fine.
Thank you. I didn't recognize you with the new look there.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Is that for winter or Halloween?
If I could be honest with you, I started during a No Shave November fundraiser
Oh.
about a year ago, 2 years ago, and my wife took a liking to it. Towards the end of this summer, the beginning of the school year, I said, okay, new year, new start. I shaved it off, and boy, did I get some bad comments. It was almost as though people were saying, we really don't want to see your face. Just cover it up again. So here we are, and
Okay.
He's gonna get a complex.
oh, it's okay.
Keeps coming back.
Every time we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm reminded of the time I was visiting my son's classroom as a guest reader. I think he was about 7 years old or so, and we did the Pledge of Allegiance, and one of the boys said, "Mr. Desto, who's Richard Stand?" And I said, I didn't know where that came from. And I said, I don't understand what you mean. And he says, well, in the pledge, it says, and to the republic for Richard stand. And I tried to explain it's actually for which it stands, and I tried to explain how stands can mean represents and that type of thing. And he thought about it, and he said, I think it says Richard Stand.
How old was he?
Maybe 7.
Oh, that's cute. Before you start your presentation, is this in lieu of the trip to DC that the students used to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can, so we thought, we think it's, I guess I'll begin with this. Well, first of all, let me thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I think every time I come here this year, I'm going to say to you, not just to be here tonight, but to be here in general with maybe the best team I've ever had at my school. I'm really grateful for the resources that the district has provided, and you have a big part of that. So I want to thank you every day. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm skipping down the hallway all day. It's hard work. 650 or so middle school kids, but we have great people, and I'm so grateful for that. So, Mrs. Holloway, to your question, we thought about, we think it's important that the kids do something extremely memorable before they go off to high school. And part of that, our 8th grade staff really feels, is that they do a trip that experiences in real life a lot of the things that they've learned throughout the course of the year. And they think that the overnight component is important too. I'll get to that, but because of what it provides for them. With that being stated, when we started to just look into things a little bit, the Washington, if we did it exactly the way we did it in 2019, it would have been very, very expensive because of gas and things like that. So we couldn't eliminate automatically a percentage of our kids. So we think that this trip that I'm presenting for your approval tonight is sort of the sweet spot between something that's too long and too far, but yet it gives the experience to our kids that we think is going to be meaningful and memorable. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go through very quickly the itinerary because it's exciting to me and I think definitely to our teachers. And then, talk a little bit about, very quickly, how it applies to our curriculum, which is a very strong connection to the curriculum. I know a big component will be the cost, and I'll talk about that, and then some other components like chaperones and things of that nature. And I want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to make a good decision, informed decision. So if this trip is approved, our kids would leave at about 6:30 in the morning on May 23rd, which is a Tuesday of 2023. And they would arrive in Philadelphia about 4 hours later and meet the tour guide from the tour company called Grand Classroom, which we did some research on. They have very good references, including Grafton Middle School, which is a school and a leader that I trust, who I know. While in Philadelphia, they'll see some things that they're learning about this year, such as Independence Hall, where the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were composed and signed, the Liberty Bell, the National Constitution Center, if time permitting, the Museum of American Revolution, and the Betsy Ross home where the flag was. It's like the Flag Museum, essentially. So at the end of the day in Philadelphia, they would travel to their hotel, to where they're going to stay in the hotel, which is in New Jersey. It's essentially near the Giant Stadium. It's near East Rutherford, but it's in a town called Carlstad. They would then go to a medieval dinner theater, which looks really cool, and I have a feeling will be like sort of sneakily the thing that some of the kids like the most, because they do like a tournament with jousting and falcons and horses, and it looks pretty cool. Anyway, so after the medieval dinner theater, they would check into the hotel, and then the next morning, and I can talk about the logistics around the hotel and security and those things after, if you have questions about that. But the next morning, they would take the ferry from New Jersey to Ellis Island, where I think we all know Ellis Island is where, as of today, it's like over 12 million immigrants have come in since the beginning of our country. They would see the National Immigration Museum. Immigration is a big part of the 8th grade curriculum, as well as early America. They would see the Family History Center, where they might find out that, according to my father anyway, Joseph Desto Sr. came to America from Sicily as a 13-year-old boy. But then again, I might find out that he's from Ireland. I don't know. Or no. But that's what I've been told, and they'd have a chance to check out their own family history. They would then take a very short ferry ride to the Statue of Liberty, and then the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, which of course is at the site of the World Trade Center. Our kids were born around 2008, that would be going, 2008, 2009. So they missed it, they weren't born at the time, and it's something that they certainly know about, but I think it's a powerful learning experience that kind of shows they get a feeling at a place like that there's something bigger than them out there, and those kind of experiences are priceless. So basically that's the itinerary. The connection to the curriculum is incredibly strong. It's just they have been studying early America, what made us a country, how we became a democracy, republic. So a lot of that took place in 1700s Philadelphia and New York, so they get to see that firsthand. As I said, immigration is a big part of it. Science factors in with the inventions of Ben Franklin, and they would go to Ben Franklin's house and see some of his inventions and his experimentation. The theater, arts factor in with the theater, the dinner theater. phys ed with all the walking they're going to do. Maybe I'm pushing it a little bit, but it is going to be a lot of exercise with all the walking that they're doing too. So it is a very strong connection to the curriculum. The cost is not low, but we think it's reasonable considering all that they get. It would be $465 per student. It's important to note that payment plans, fundraising, and a limited supply of, the tour company has given us one scholarship per bus, which is four free ones. Plus, we haven't really reached out at all, but if we are approved, we would reach out to some of the local organizations to see if there were other opportunities for funding as well, for kids whose families might not have that kind of money. But they do have the opportunity to raise funds themselves, though, through a calendar raffle. Also, I think it's important to note, and Mr. Watson would be very upset with me if I don't, Mr. Watson is an 8th grade civics teacher, that there are insurance plans available through this tour company. So if you pay, it's like $100, you can cancel right up to the day of the trip, and a little less than that, maybe it's $60, you can cancel up to a week before, something like that. So some families might take advantage of that. The chaperone situation is going to be very good. I would go with this group of people to the moon. I mean, so if you know our 8th grade staff, all except there's 10 of them, and all but one of them is a very experienced traveler with students. They've all done the Washington trip multiple times. They feel very strongly that this is important. So when you think to yourself, boy, they must, I feel like I said this to Dr. Chamberlain, there's nothing really in it for them, so they must really think this matters for the students,
Hard work.
It is a lot of work, and it's a lot of responsibility, and frankly, it's nerve-wracking to have, 200 or so 14-year-olds going to the cities, but they think it's important, and we know that they've done it before. So, but we will also take a limited number of parent chaperones to get it to the point where it's better than 10 to 1. So it may end up being something like 9.5 to 1 if you did the math out. And the priority for parent chaperones will go to first responders. For example, we have parents who we know are interested, we have a high-ranking SWAT team member who would like to go. We have a experienced state trooper. We have emergency room nurse. Those are the kinds of people we would take. They're parents of kids that are in 8th grade, but they also have that extra skill, in addition to one of our own nurses who would go, and either myself or Mr. Carlson. Okay? So I think that's a good situation. And I think it's important to note that after curriculum night on October 13th, we invited the 8th grade families back to the cafeteria just to sort of say, this is something we're thinking about, and how do you feel about this? And if people started throwing tomatoes at us, we would know, okay, we're not ready for this. I mean, it's been a tough couple of years, and some people this is not an easy thing, and it's not a slam dunk for everybody. So we had some questions, and we had a lot of people who feel really good about it and have reached out and said thank you for at least thinking about this at this point. We do know that we have to get back to some normalcy at some point, and I think that the reaction of the families was better than I would have anticipated. Okay. I think that's all I would like to say up front, but I know that there's going to be a lot of questions, and so please let me know.
Any questions?
Through the chair, I just want to make a statement. So I have run a New York City trip, and your 6 a.m. leave time it needs to be earlier, just FYI.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm from that area. You're driving right through Connecticut and New York City rush hour through New Jersey.
To get to Philadelphia, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well,
so my recommendation is you might want to leave a little bit earlier.
Okay.
So that's that's my big concern. I'm from that area, and I think Medieval Times is in Lyndhurst and
Yes,
Carlstadt. There's some nice, very, very nice areas of Carlstadt. So I have really no concerns there. The ferry is smart because you don't have to drive through the city at all, really. But yeah, 6 a.m. you might want to reevaluate that.
That's
leave
good
time.
information. Thank you.
What would you recommend, like 5?
Or
we have
2 nights.
right. The biggest issue is how you're driving down. So if you're going, which I would guess from here, you're going to go down 84, probably to 91. You're going to hit traffic in that region, and we're going down this weekend. So I'd really have to like touch base with like my father and find out like what a good time is. But I would say that in about 3 hours, and I don't know who quoted you 4 hours to get to Philly, but
They might have said 4.5.
yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Not gonna happen, sorry. It takes us from here about 3, and I live right in Bergen, so right over the George Washington Bridge, my parents, where I grew up, takes about 3 hours just to get there. And Philly, without traffic, is probably a little more than an hour. So I would guess like you gotta build in an extra hour and a half.
Okay,
So
good
if
to
they
know.
tell you 4.5, you wanna build in an extra hour and a half.
That's fair to know.
So I would say you want to leave closer to 5, maybe even like 4:45.
8th graders, 5 a.m. Or we'll
So we
figure
used to take
something-
8th
we'll
graders
figure
to
it
New
out.
York, and we
Yeah.
basically said to them, if you are not here, we will leave without you.
Yep.
And you can run after the bus all you want, but we are on the road. And we used to hit tons of traffic. So that's my only, I will find out when we left, and I can drop you an email.
Yeah, and we'll double up with the tour company as well. They've done this multiple times, but
But
we'll make
6
sure we
a.m.
have
is-
our time straight.
You're not going to get to Philly until noon.
Okay.
So
Thank
if you
you.
leave at
Chair,
6.
you take like coach buses, right? You don't take the
Yes,
school.
no, for this particular trip, it's
They
not,
can
stu-
pack
it's not
blankies
school
and
buses.
sleep
Yeah.
on the way there.
Yes,
And
and they could
bathrooms.
put a pillow and a blanket on the seat and go
Yeah.
back to sleep.
They can go back to sleep.
Yeah, they won't mind that.
How many buses are
4.
going down?
It
4
would be
buses.
4 buses, yeah.
Well, it's very thorough presentation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I didn't know what exactly to cover. There's so much that we could say, you know.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
I actually heard
Sounds-
great feedback too from parents that had
Thank you.
sat through your presentation, so.
Thank you.
Through the chair. So go on.
You go, you go, you go.
Through the chair, I didn't think that Medieval Times was still there, by the way. That was around when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
I hope they've
That was a
upgraded
long
it a little
time
bit,
ago.
you know? It's, it looks good, though. It looks great. That looks like a fun part of it. I
It's
think the kids are
awesome.
gonna like it.
Yeah, I agree. Through the chair, I just wanted to say that I think it's great that we're seeing all these trips come back. It makes me so happy. My daughter was in 8th grade last year, and she did the Boston, the day
yeah.
trip. And so she was really disappointed that she didn't get a trip. But I think it's great that it's back. I know that you guys work really hard to put these together, so thank you so much for coming and presenting and putting such a great 2 days together for the kids.
You're welcome.
Through the chair, as perspective, when I was in 8th grade, I'm pretty sure we went to Faneuil Hall and were back by 3 p.m. So we've come a long way, and I think it's wonderful that we're doing this for the kids, and also that we're including everybody. I would hate to go to DC for I don't know how long you went and not be able to include everybody, whereas this is just much more affordable for these kids.
Just for, if I may, for perspective, there's a local district who is still doing the Washington trip with their 8th graders, and they're only going for 2 nights, and it's like almost $1,300.
Yeah.
So it's just it's the fuel mostly, you
Yeah.
know? It's
Yeah.
just so much, you know?
It's too much.
And that's a lot to do in 2 days too.
Yeah.
I think some people see that and they're just gonna say, no, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you can't, like, in good conscience knowingly do that when you're in charge of other people's children, you know? That's how I feel.
Yeah, I ran the itinerary past my daughter Caitlin, the 7th grader, and she
Okay.
said, he better still do that next year. So, you're on the
Interestingly enough,
hook now.
Mrs. Harrington, we are hoping that this will establish a new tradition, but,
Yeah.
you know, hopefully it'll all go really well. The kids will come back excited and buzzing about it, and
Sounds
you know,
great, yeah.
Sounds great.
And I know Dr. Chamberlain and I had talked about it, and we were saying, you know, overkill with the chaperones, and I think you covered it. You know, if you have the first responder parents involved and all the staff that you're bringing along, so I think,
I feel really good about that part of it. I do. The people that'll be going, I really feel good about that team that's going, you know?
great.
I mean, other than the parent of the individual child, maybe Dr. Chamberlain and I will be the most nervous, you know, but I feel great about the people that they'll be with. I might even be there myself. I like, this is a really great-looking trip, and either me or Matt are going to go, so one or the other. But
Great. One parent said, it's a very robust schedule. I was
It
like,
is.
"Ooh, robust.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely correct, and it's a great word.
Keep them
but
busy.
Unintentionally, right?
Yes.
Yep.
You gotta pack
a lot in.
Yeah.
Packs a lot in, and we've got to keep them busy.
Yep.
There's no free time for the students. In other words, they don't get put on their own. You don't say, go explore and come back here by 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
They're always with their chaperones.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think with high school trips, they are allowed some free time, which makes sense for the age group. But with eighth graders, their first time far away, they're always with their chaperone until they're in their hotel room. And then in that case, there are chaperones and security at each end of the hallway. So it's not quite, like a military facility, but we've got a lot of adults,
close.
a lot of adults
good.
on duty.
Put tape on the door.
They do
The oldest trick,
That way
right?
they know when you're open or not.
Used to put tape on the door and they would
Yep.
know when a kid left.
Yeah.
Or do we have the entire hallway, or is there gonna be some poor
So that,
businessman?
in all honesty, Mrs. McCrillis, that still remains to be seen because we have to get approval from the school committee, and then we'll know that within a matter of days.
I just
but-
feel bad for the businessmen stuck in
Yeah.
the middle of an eighth grade.
What we have been promised is that they would all be in the same hotel. That we've been promised.
Awesome.
Okay.
And how many kids per room, do you think?
4.
4 per
Yeah.
room, okay. All right. All righty. Any more questions or discussion?
Sounds great.
All right, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the Auburn Middle School overnight field trip to Philadelphia and New York City on May 23rd to 24th, 2023.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, you can tell them.
Seriously, thank you very much for your
That's
support on
about
this.
5 minutes.
We're excited. We
Can
want to
I-
hear all about it, too.
And I'll
Say, can
I'll
they come back?
videotape the announcement to the students, and you can see
Oh,
how
yes,
they when they
please do.
cheer.
Yeah,
I would love that.
And we'll send you a copy of the
It might be
video.
nice too, Mr. Desto, after the trip, if there are a couple of students that might want to come and share, since it's the first time we're doing this one.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's a spotlight for students slot available
No
for
problem.
later in the
Yes,
school year.
There is one in June. I don't know why nobody wanted one of those. You know?
And if they still do those medieval time pictures, those I want to see. I might be able to find mine by then.
We'll look for it.
I think it will be a good idea to have a couple come back, maybe even a parent come
Yeah.
and speak on behalf of, the other parents, just so parents going into 8th grade will be like, it was a success, I feel very comfortable about it, so it will lay the groundwork for future years,
Awesome.
so, all right.
Thank you, Mr. Desto.
You should
Thank you
go
again.
home now.
Appreciate it very much.
All right.
Mr. Desto?
Thank you for staying.
Have a
Do-
good
Have a good
evening.
night.
Thank you.
But I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'll send you a video copy.
Bye. That's exciting. All right. Let's move on to the Town of Auburn Special Town Meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So last Tuesday, the town of Auburn had a special town meeting. We had put forward a number of amendments that had been shared with you at a previous meeting. One of them being increasing the school budget by a difference of $102,856 to cover the 30% increase in expected in electricity costs. We also had an increase in Medicaid receipts that we requested and a transfer of $95,000 in CIP funds that had been slated for new windows here at West Street to be used for the required installation of backflow devices here at West Street, Packagug, Bryn Mawr, and Swanson Road. Then there was some Scrivener's errors on some previous amendments, but all were supported at town meeting, so I'm pleased to report that. So once again, the town finance, everyone has just been so gracious with their support, and we really appreciate that. So just somewhat related to the increase in the electricity, I think I mentioned earlier, we may, as we're heading into budget season, be looking at increases on oil and propane as well. Electricity, we were fortunate enough, we had kind of locked that in late last year for this year, but it's going to be tricky. It's going to be a tricky year, along with the anticipated potential 14% increase in private school tuition for any of our students who are outplaced. So Mrs. Worsbicky and I are beginning to dig into what we have, what we need, and how we can make it work in a reasonable way for the townspeople, yet support our kids and our staff in a way that's appropriate. So more to come on that, but, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone, right? Everywhere you turn, price, things are costing more and the like. So we're going to make it work as best we can and go from there. So we'll be very vigilant about how we do that.
All right, great. Yes, and I second that about the support from the town and the town meeting members. They didn't, no one even, comes
Questions.
back, questions or anything.
So
It's
great.
just always support there.
Yeah.
So,
Really, it's amazing.
yeah, it's great.
They trust the schools. When the schools say they need something, they believe them, and
Yeah.
It's great to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, good stuff.
You could see it at the meeting, that they
Yeah.
definitely support the schools.
I remember a time when that wasn't always the
Right,
case,
yeah.
so it's wonderful now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't get chalk for the classrooms.
No?
All right, well, days are better now, for sure. All right, and next up is satellite and Galaxy pay rates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do each year take our satellite and Galaxy pay rates and increase them a little bit, just like everybody gets a little bit of an increase. But given the increasing needs for families for before and after school care at the elementary level and our need to hire high-quality staff, I felt this was a good time. Our satellite and Galaxy revolving accounts are healthy. And these pay increases would come out of those revolving accounts, so it doesn't impact the budget. But I do think it would impact, number one, us keeping staff that we have, because many of the staff that work in our schools also do this after school, and I feel like they've gone above and beyond in kind of doing that. That's a long day. Some of them are there from 7 in the morning until 6 at night. And so I thought it was prudent at this point in time to look at a potential increase in each of those rates. You'll see that an increase in each of the rates, the one change in the proposed items, and there is one line for step one that goes on to the next page. But the one thing is that, so if you already work for us, and let's say you're an instructional assistant or you're an ABA and you decide you want to work our after-school program, in the past, you were brought in at step one. So you were starting at $12.25. And if we were bringing on a high school student, because we do that as well, they were coming on at $12.25. Now, seemingly, any of our staff members are much better equipped to work with kids. They have the experience, they know the children, they tend to have a skill set around management and play and all of those things. So it felt appropriate that if they were a current staff member, that they would come in at that $19.70, which is a seemingly a comparable rate to where they may be as an IA, or less if they're an ABA, and maybe a little bit less as an IA as well, but still something that's not $12.25. And I think it's going to show them some respect, as well as ensure that we continue to be well-staffed for these programs. So I welcome any questions you may have.
I have a comment. When I looked at this, I said, they're only gonna get $1.30 more, and I was thinking, why not go with $2 more? I just really was like, with the way everything costs now?
What, the sub line, or?
No,
all
the
of them?
Teacher.
Yeah, the teacher.
the lead teacher and the staff. I was thinking, why not raise them each $2? I mean,
Yeah, and I guess, go ahead,
I was
Cecilia.
going to say through the chair, we did at the beginning of the year, we did give them a 2% bump already.
Oh.
So these reflect like a 2% like increase
on top of
from
that.
last year. So,
Okay.
and we just felt like Dr. Chamberlain and I discussed it, and we felt strongly that they deserve to have a little bit more. So they
Yeah.
are getting a little bit bigger bump than from last year to this year, so already.
I think too, Gail, I'd like to see once, so this would go into effect now, and we could see where that leaves us with our revolving accounts once we get through this school year, and we could certainly revisit again next year if we feel like that's
I
appropriate.
mean, if not $2, even $1.50, I mean, it just seems kind of puny, that's all. I just
I don't know.
I think the revolving.
can't afford it, I mean.
I mean, if you'd like to entertain that, I mean, I feel like our revolving funds are healthy. My only word of caution would be that with everything increasing this year in our budget coming forward, once we present it, we might be leaning more heavily on all of our revolving accounts in the coming year. So I would just hate to go too high and then, you know, but I mean, I'm with whatever, it's your
How
choice.
many
and-
employees do we have, like, in this?
Yeah, how many people would be paid by this?
It's quite,
Yeah, I bet might be between 20 and 25.
yeah.
Because depending on the size of the program, we try and keep the ratio at 10 to 1. So, you know, I think Bryn Mawr's running around 40 kids, 40 or 42. So you have 4 there, and then you have some only work some days, right? Some work 3 days, somebody else works the other 2 days. I mean, I think it's fair. I think we could go to the $1.50. I would hesitate for the $2
Okay.
because, as Cecilia says, we can use some of that money to offset heating costs, electricity costs that come from the revolving fund because of the use of the building. So I put that to the group for discussion, but I think $1.50 would be
Doable?
doable.
I agree.
I like that.
Yeah, I would be fine.
$1.50 is
I would
good.
be fine with that as well.
Through the chair, I think, like, I know my girls are both in the morning and the afternoon program, and all those women that work there are amazing. So I would definitely be supportive of going up a little more than, you know, not adding very quickly, but like 65 cents. So I would definitely like to see that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's great to bring our current staff members in at the step 4.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Already, you know, like, you can't beat that.
Yeah, and our high school kids, I don't want to diminish it, they're great, and the young kids love being with the high school kids, but sometimes we're dealing with tricky situations,
Yeah.
you know, so to have an experienced staff member makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Makes a big difference.
And maybe we'll get some more staff members
We may,
by bumping up the price.
we may,
You know, so
yeah,
that's good.
which would be great.
Yeah,
We only have, I think, right now, 1 or 2 students, I think we have maybe, we have a few at Swanson on a waiting list and a couple at Bryn Mawr. Other than that, we've been able to take everyone, so this may help that as well.
Great.
Through the chair, just a quick question. If we're looking to go higher than what is on paper right in front of us and bumping it to the $1.50 or whatever it may be, should we be making a motion this evening?
Yeah, I think we have to anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the, yeah, it goes on to the next page, yeah.
Yeah.
So what we can do, if you like, so there was about a $1.30 increase, we can say, to make the increase, we can specifically say that in the motion of a $1.50, and then modify the totals from there.
And we're sure that that's not going to affect anything. I mean, I know it's only cents, but.
Yeah.
I
just
just
seems
wanted to be
We're
sure.
healthy at this
Okay.
point, but I just wanted to say that in the future, we might have to use our revolvings more than we have in the past
Yeah.
with all the increasing inflation.
So would they potentially get another increase then at the end of the year? When they
At the beginning of next, they'll get a
Beginning of
small, yeah, they'll get another small increase, which we usually do bump them a little bit each year at the start of
Is
the year.
it 222?
Yeah.
Okay. And with that bump, are we going to be hurting?
I don't believe so, because you know, the revenue is still coming and we're still charging the revenues regularly. And we've been, we have Robin Grady that's doing a great job in central office,
Collecting.
working with the parents and collecting tuitions. And she's right on things and she's doing a great job. So
Okay.
we're getting our revenues collected, so.
And as I said, we may be able to bring in a few more students if we can bring on
Yeah, I
some
was gonna say,
additional staff.
Can we grow the
Yeah.
program a little?
Yeah,
to-
we do have quite a few older staff that have been here for a long time that have worked the program, and they do, like you said, they do a great job, and so other staff might step forward as well.
And through the chair, I mean, I think the morning and aftercare is very reasonable. So,
It
I mean,
is.
if we needed to bump it up 25 cents, 50 cents to give the staff extra, I mean, I don't, as a parent, I don't foresee an issue with that. Because I think it is very reasonable. I mean, compared to daycare prices, it's,
And I think that would be something, right, we've tried to keep any fees that we're
Yeah.
putting on our families to try and keep them at a level place.
You don't want to price them out, because
yeah,
that's,
definitely not.
And our program is very reasonable, so I think that would be as if we were in a jam, which we don't
We're not
anticipate at this point.
No,
So-
we're healthy.
Yeah, I would hesitate in that because people are struggling right now. But
Yeah.
maybe down the road when, you know, inflation's over or whatever.
Yeah.
If it ever ends.
It's gonna get better.
Yeah,
It's gonna get
we'll
better.
see.
We're gonna get there.
so I could make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to, I guess, I recommend that we increase the pay rates by $1.50 for the satellite and Galaxy staff.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful.
All right, they're gonna be happy. That's
Yes,
great.
they will. Thanks
Yeah.
very much.
Awesome. All right, Alan, this is your time to shine.
Sister Mary Sunshine.
Yes.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. So as you may recall, I was here on October 12th, and I talked a little bit about the patterns and trends we were seeing at the state level from MCAS report. So tonight, I'm going to talk about some of the initial work we've done with our MCAS data here in Auburn schools. So first and foremost, parent reports were sent out today from the schools, so parents will be receiving those soon, very soon. So really quickly, I just wanted to kind of talk through what tonight will look like in the presentation. It's not that lengthy. I made it sound like it's going to be a very lengthy presentation. But so I have each school, and we'll look at percentage of students meeting and exceeding expectations. We'll look at Auburn's numbers at each grade level, and then we'll look at the states. And then we'll look at percentage of students not meeting expectations for our schools as well as the state. We'll look at accountability profiles, and I'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about some of the highlights that we've been able to see, the bright spots, and then some areas that are areas for growth that we need to examine a little bit closer, and then we'll talk about next steps. So just as a reminder, when I was here last time, I shared that grid on the right side just to refresh your memory. The 2019, before the pandemic, all students grades 3 through 8, and then grade 10 took the full test. No test in 2020. 2021, grades 3 through 8 took a half test. Grade 10 took the full test. So 2022 is the first time grades 3 through 8 and grade 10 took the full test since 2019. And the state has said, and in looking at the data, 2022 is really our new baseline, given all the things that we've gone through. And I don't know if you saw, but earlier this week, I think on Monday, the nation's report card, the national, the NAEP scores came out, and they didn't paint a very great picture nationwide in terms of where we're at. Grades 4 and 8 in reading and math have declined a decent amount. So. So again, MCAS is in line where we are as a state with what came out in the NAEP. So there's 4 achievement levels on MCAS: not meeting expectations, partially meeting expectations, meeting expectations, and exceeding expectations. So we'll start at Swanson Road. So in terms of orientation of the data here, so the blue bar is Auburn numbers, and you can see across the bottom we have grade 3 ELA, grade 3 math, and then we run all the way across. I ran out of space, so the last one there is grade 5 science, technology, and engineering. That's an important distinction. It's not just science. So, just in terms of looking at some of the items on here, you can see that we are consistently achieving above the state level, and in some particular cases, exceeding the state pretty considerably. So, we look at grade 3 math, grade 4 ELA, where we're over 9 percentage points above the state, and even more than that. So 9% tends to be that kind of marker that I have in my mind. If we're over that, then we're doing some things really, really well. So those are some highlights. An area that is that we've had conversations about that we need to really dig into the data and look at item analysis is in that grade 5 ELA, where we actually performed below the state. One of the things to be thinking about is so those students, that was their first time taking a full test, because in grade 4 they had a half test, and in grade 3 they didn't take the test. So, granted, that's everybody across the state, but it's something that we're paying attention to and looking closely at. So then the next slide we'll look at is Swanson Road, and this is not meeting expectations. So again, some really nice data here that makes me feel really good in terms of, of course, we don't want anybody not meeting expectations, but that might be a pretty aggressive goal. But we are consistently below the state in terms of numbers or percentage of students who are not meeting expectations. In particular, if you look at grade 3 ELA, 5% of students did not meet expectations, and comparing that to the state at 15%. That's again, we'd love to have that number at 0, but that's an impressive number.
Do you have any data on whether or not of that 5%, how many kids are in IEPs or 504s?
I do. I don't have that tonight to speak to, but yes, we actually can absolutely look at that, and that's some of the work that we started doing. And you'll see as we get later, digging into the subgroups and looking at not just students in special education, but all our different subgroups that the state lays out. But yes, it'll be interesting to see if that's a weakness. Yes. So that's pretty consistent as we look across there. And anytime in my opinion, anytime we're below 10%, that's strong. And so you see the grade 3 ELA, grade 4, grade 5, and ELA and math. Next, we'll look at the middle school. And so like grade 5 ELA, grade 6 ELA, is the one area where we fell below the state, and there's a lot of things that we're looking at, both in terms of like the subgroup data as well as students' experience taking a standardized test. And so that's one of the things, and grade 6 math we're looking at as well. Although we performed above the state, it's not considerably above the state, but then as you move up the grade levels in grade 7 and 8, you can see that we're getting close, and if not meeting the 50% achievement level, and significantly above the state. And I also want to mention grade 8 science, and that's a theme that you'll see, not just grade 8 science, excuse me, science, technology, and engineering. That's a theme that you will see throughout as we look at next at the high school. But our science and math and technology are really a place that we are shining.
Alan, do we get copies of the questions the students were asked?
No.
No. So we can't see what it was that gave them trouble then?
No, so what we can do is, so at the administrative level, we have access to the data, and teachers have access to this as well, to look at item analysis. So you can look and say, for instance, as an English teacher, I would, that's kind of where my head goes, but you can say this question was around figurative language. So I know that students have struggled with figurative language or things like that.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was wondering, if there was some way to see.
Yeah. Some of the questions, they do release items, and so you can go on. It's Pearson is the test provider, and so you can go on and see some of the questions. But a lot of that stuff is not released. But for every question, you can see what standard or what it tied to.
And that's at the school level. That's the continuing to dig into that, right? Because that's going to inform their groupings. That's going to inform remediation. All of those things.
I mean, I'd like to know what it was that caused Auburn to be lower than the state in the English language curriculum, because it's in, 3 grade levels? What are we doing different that our kids didn't?
It seems to be grade specific too.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it in that, like these guys, 6th grade, so maybe their 5th and 4th grade year.
Yeah.
Or maybe even their year where they were
at home
on COVID.
Yeah.
They did say, and I think Alan shared the last time, that ELA and writing were weaknesses across the state.
Yeah.
So I know we're lower there at the state. To me, when I look at 2 percentage points, that's a ballpark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not really significant
yeah.
if you did.
There's also like what we didn't see, because a lot of kids, I know I saw it with my 6th grade students, like there's testing fatigue. They weren't used to testing for 2 full years, and you watch them on the reading and the ELA, because there's a lot of reading, and especially on the computers, and the head bobbing. You're like, whoa, stay awake. And especially the jump from the 4th to the 6th, the ELA test is a lot longer. Yeah. So there's definitely some testing fatigue that you'll see there as well.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and as I mentioned last time I was here, nearly 1/3 of all students got a 0 on one of the writing prompts across the state.
They just said the hell.
Yeah.
The heck with it.
And we're seeing this everywhere. We're seeing that also like the fatigue with writing long prompts, we're seeing like write a paragraph and they struggle with that. So I think we're going to see like a constant like low in those grades popping all the way up. Yeah.
That makes sense. I was
good
just
questions.
Wondering.
So staying at the middle school, then we're looking at not meeting expectations, and again, on this particular slide, we want to be below the state, and there are 4 different areas where we're below 10% of students not meeting expectations, and so that there's some bright spots there definitely. And again, I want to reference the science, math, and technology, which is a really strong performance.
I think kids love STEM. I mean, I really do.
Yeah.
I think they love the hands-on and stuff. So.
Through the chair, I think we do an amazing job with STEM.
Yeah.
I was just hearing about some water clay thing they were doing today in 5th grade science, where they were playing with clay to make a water or something. I don't know.
Kids love that kind of stuff. They really do.
So now we're shifting to the high school, and so again, this graph is the percentage of students meeting or exceeding expectations, and the percentages are above. The lowest percentage on here is 57%, and you can take a look at that. And again, the science, technology, and engineering is at 60% and well above the state. And grade 10 math is as
Great.
well.
That's good. Good.
And percentage of students not meeting expectations, a really solid performance here. Grade 10 ELA at 5%, grade 10 math at 4%, and grade 10 science, technology, engineering at 5%.
Okay, that's fair.
And then the final piece that I want to mention is accountability percentiles. So you can see the 3 schools that have students taking MCAS, where their accountability percentiles are. So let me, I'm going to read the definition. So each school across the state is given an accountability percentile between 1 and 99, and it's an indication of the school's overall performance relative to other schools that serve similar grades, and it's calculated using multiple years of data for all accountability indicators. So these are really strong numbers, especially given, you know, the path that we've been through over the past 3 years. So, you know, with Swanson Road at 63, AMS at 61, and the high school at 46. So highlights, district-wide participation, we were over 99% of our students participated in MCAS, and that is no small feat. As a former building administrator, I know how much work it is to make sure that students get the MCAS, not just the students who are there on that particular day, but the students who are out for a variety of absences and making sure that they get in for makeup. So a lot of credit goes to the building administrators and the other people that are doing guidance staff and other people that are chasing kids and hosting those sessions. The school accountability percentiles, I just went over those, are impressive. Consistently, we are meeting or exceeding expectations as compared to the state. And we are consistently significantly lower than the state in the percentage of students not meeting expectations. And I mentioned this, the STEM performance is outstanding. So then in terms of moving forward, areas for further analysis, Samantha, you mentioned the subgroups, and that's something that we have started looking at closely, is looking at all our subgroups and our performance, comparing ourselves to state, comparing ourselves. The state also does a DART analysis, so they compare you against similar districts, and so we have an opportunity to take a look at how we compared to those similar districts. Areas where we fell below state in meeting or exceeding, and we talked about a couple of those places where that was the case. And we're doing the item analysis, so we want to pay attention to bright spots because we don't want to lose sight of the fact where we were successful and not just focus on the negative, but you know, looking where we are well above the state, but also where we're below the state, and begin to question why that is. And we talked about writing as well as an area that not just is a need in Auburn, but it's across the state, and so some consistent writing expectations and practices in the schools. Next steps is developing our action plan and working with at each building what we're doing about the data and making sure that we have some particular plans in place. I'm sure you've heard Dr. Chamberlain talk over the past couple of years about universal design for learning and the promise that that provides for our students in developing interventions and differentiation, and examining our instructional practices and making sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. That's everything I have.
That's it. You got through them all. Yeah. My personal opinion, I mean, I thought it was going to be much worse. Yeah. So I'm thrilled with these results. I don't see much negative. I think it's a positive thing, and now we can see, you know, what we need to hone in on. And we're here to support. So just come to, you know, tell us how we can help you guys do that and how we can help the staff get there. So that's my input. But yeah, I mean, these kids have been through a lot, and same with the staff. So I just think that is, I'm kind of impressed. Yeah, you know.
Through the chair, I just wanted to say pretty much what you just said, but the past few years watching what these teachers and these students went through, and to see those numbers, I think it's very impressive, just based off of everything that they've gone through in the past couple of years.
Agree. Thank you.
Yeah. I think through the chair that the teachers really should be commended for keeping those levels up, because they are working hard.
Yes.
And they are seeing where, you know, there's a few things we need to tweak, but that's every teacher. So
And through the chair, it's important to note, I say this every year, it's just a test. It's a state mandated test that we have to take, and it doesn't even, it reflects very positively on us anyway, but it doesn't reflect what our kids or our teachers can do.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and I know that this isn't necessarily Auburn, but it's more of a state thing where we're getting these zeros on typing, or not typing, but I'm going to typing, on writing. They have to type on a computer, right? Or on an iPad or something.
Their answers, you mean?
Yeah, their answers. So I'm wondering, like, do kids know how to type? Do we do anything with them to help them type? Because, I mean, I know that if I couldn't type and I had to write an essay
My kids like this.
and they're like, and I know they can go fast. I've seen kids text, but I'm just wondering, I may not do it either because if I didn't know how to type. You know, that's like a basic thing that's not showing my way of learning. You know, I don't know. I took typing in 6th or 7th grade. Hated every minute of that class. Best class I ever took.
I was just gonna say,
They
I
don't teach
agree,
it anymore.
No, they don't.
because
They
we
don't
took
teach
it
it,
in
no.
school, and I know it's different now because
Mrs.
they're on
Duluth,
iPads,
it was Mrs.
but
Duluth,
when
yes.
these kids
With the
are
nail
sitting there
polish on
taking a
them.
test and they're going about this,
My
and
daughter will say that's the
I
best
mean,
class she ever had.
these kids know what they're doing typing-wise in the aspect of their phones, but in the setting of the classroom, it might be a little different, and I'm just wondering if we do something to, almost a lesson on like how to have the iPad and.
Well, so I know through even Mrs. LeBreton at the primary, part of what she does with iPads is they do some typing games and things like that to familiarize themselves. And I think Mrs. O'Connor at Swiss does that. Now, the thing is, they don't spend a lot of time on it because time is a premium, right?
You
But
don't
they
have the time to do it
They
anymore.
do give the kids some experience with trying to familiarize themselves where the keys are and that kind of thing. And I think the teachers also often have them submit assignments that way so that they have to practice it, right? So it's not typing practice per se,
It's not
but
the
it is
same as
practice
what you
doing that.
I just know that if it wasn't for, now I remember her name, Mrs. Dulude, and her keyboard that was covered with nail polish that I hated every minute of, I probably still wouldn't be able to type.
Yeah.
You know, and I know there's no time for it anymore,
Yeah.
but it
They
was the best
do
That
give
was a
it some
great class.
emphasis, but to
Yeah.
have a whole class on it now is,
Well, through the chair, they do spend, I know when Freya was in 3rd grade, I know Miss Benvenuti spent a lot of time like teaching them how to work on the test and use the test. And there's so many options for us as teachers to like open up the test and show them samples. So I think that they're getting a lot more exposure to that test than like someone like you or I would get. You know, like I can't even look at it, but I'm allowed to look at like the practice. And it was interesting showing them like you can click here for this or you can click there for that. So they give them a lot of exposure to it, like a lot of practice with that. So
That's a good point about, that would knock the writing scores down for sure.
and it's not about their writing.
No, it's not.
And that's not Auburn, that's state, or
Yeah.
probably whole country, but.
Yeah.
it is. And I think kids' reliance and getting used to how they send all these quick little things all the time.
yeah, they
It takes persistence and resilience to stick through. What is it asking me? How do I organize my thinking? How do I put that on paper? It's not easy.
How do I write it not in text speak?
Yeah.
That's a fun one too. Reading an entire essay in text speak.
But they are working on it. And I think now that we have our kids back full-time, there'll definitely be a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thank you for that. All right, we'll move on to business and financial.
Good evening, everyone. I provided in your packet a year-to-date budget dated October 19th, 2022 for your review, along with a listing of budget transfers, some between the same series for your information, as well as a listing of transfers between different series for which I'm seeking your approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Looks very thorough as usual.
Thank you, Gail.
Get down to the penny.
All right, we ready? Yeah. Can I get a motion to accept?
Make a motion to approve the list of transfers dated October as presented by the business manager.
And I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great job, Cecilia.
Thank you. Short
Yes.
report, but.
Yeah. Short is good, short and sweet. And no executive session.
No.
That is it for
hands.
tonight.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, That is a vote. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Right.